250,000 people in and around St. Peter's Square for the funeral of Pope Francis, a man whose humility and compassion inspired millions all over the world. Leading the service, the Cardinal called for an end to wars, reiterating a message that Pope Francis had repeated many times: build bridges, not walls.
Pope
Francis incessantly raised his voice, imploring peace, calling for reason and inviting honest negotiations to find possible solutions.
A sermon heard by dozens of leaders and dignitaries, including Prime Minister Keir Starmer, US President Donald Trump. Applause was heard from the crowds as the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy arrived. Prince William was representing King Charles. Crowds gave their reflections on the Argentine pontiff.
I think he was one of the most normal popes, like in the sense that he was really human.
Because he is a great man, have a good heart, especially to the poor.
An adapted Pope-mobile carried his coffin to the basilica of St. Mary Major, where he will be buried following a private service. Geary, ITV News.
Well, our Europe editor, James Mates, has been watching the funeral in Rome. James, an extraordinary spectacle, but perhaps the most significant events were happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I think no one would have been happier about that than Pope Francis himself. I mean, his very words were quoted at the funeral: war is always bad. And if this gathering of world leaders has managed to make any sort of progress on the Ukraine front, he would have been delighted. And what we saw there in the Basilica, extraordinary pictures of, first of all, Presidents Trump, Zelenskyy, Macron and Keir Starmer meeting actually in the Basilica before the Pope's coffin was taken out. And then shortly after that, this image of President Trump and President Zelenskyy sitting together on that big empty stone floor, no advisors, no translators, nothing, talking for about 15 minutes, talks which the Americans called productive, the Ukrainians called constructive, and which afterwards President Zelenskyy said it was a very symbolic meeting that has potential to become historic if we achieve joint results. Now, contrast that with the last time those two men met and that disastrous meeting in the White House. And really, this does begin to look a little bit optimistic. President Trump has now left. We saw him a short time ago getting onto Air Force One. It's known that the Ukrainians are presenting their own version of a peace plan. We will find out just whether any of this is going to lead to anything significant in the next few days, I imagine.